Good morning, book lovers of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. I am Book Nerd 802, and in this video, I am going to be speaking about my fifth day of teaching practice. I hope you're all having a fantastic Saturday, first of all. And personally, I am so glad that the first week of teaching practice is over. Now I have 4 weeks to go, and I woke up with without brain fog for the first time in several days now, to the point where I even decided to make myself some coffee because I haven't had coffee for the whole week, which is probably why I had brain fog. But on the bright side, I was sleeping quite well, so I can't really complain. I'll probably follow the same pattern next week. Um, Very happy to see that the first week is over, so much so that this guy would probably be proud of me, David Goggins. As you might know, he went through Hell Week several times, which took a massive toll on his body. In my case, I feel as though this was more of an intellectual hell week for me, and I went through quite a lot, although I did get to know several amazing people, and I did learn a lot about what is expected of me, and I hope to improve upon my mistakes. I'm trying to keep as much of an open mind as possible because my mind, I like to think of it as water rather than concrete, and as humans, we have to learn to adapt to all the situations we are put in, and I'll take this as a challenge. I'll try to be as optimistic as possible. I had a bit of a change in heart. Um, I'm hoping that next week, if I do have another visit from the examiners, this time it will at least be satisfactory. I want there to be some shred of improvement. In fact, I went clothes shopping yesterday in order to give the students a better impression of me because I feel as though that does help a lot when it comes to teaching. This morning, I woke up and immediately started working on lesson plans, classroom profiles, and student profiles. So, just to tune you in, what is expected of me is to write 300 words about every class I taught this week. Not every lesson, every class. So, I had to write 300 words three times since I am teaching three classes at the moment, taking over for both language and literature. Then I have to pick three students from each class and write 300 words about each student. So that is an additional 2,700 words, which I still have to work on today. Then I also finished my daily reflections yesterday, which is where I have to write 300 words every single day about my experience with teaching and how I am developing as a teacher. Um, I do have a list of questions, which is very, very helpful for me. I pick some questions every day in order to answer accordingly and to have a proper reflection rather than speak about my lessons peripherally and say things that can be said by anyone, even people who aren't teachers. I try to keep it as realistic as possible. The first 2 days were garbage, but I am already trying to improve the way I am writing my lesson plans. And by the end of my teaching practice, I hope that they will be up to standard like everything else. So, just to tell you a bit about yesterday, it was my first time at the school I'm in where I had to teach three lessons back to back. I had a double lesson in the morning with the grade 9 students where I taught them the poem Night Mail by W.H. Auden. They really seemed to enjoy listening to the poem because it, at some point, sounds like rap, even since the rhythm is so fantastic. I urge you to listen to the poem yourself. You won't really understand the words, but it has a fantastic rhythm, which is a perfect parallel, which mimics the motion of the train and when it is delivering the letters to the places in the United Kingdom accordingly. So I really enjoyed that poem. I have to go through the stanzas individually and point out the literary devices um, which the students are expected to know. I also told them all about the learning outcomes towards the start of the lesson, which isn't something that I've ever done before, but it is important, in my opinion, that the students know what they are expected to learn by the end of the lesson. And I even gave them some homework. since I didn't manage to cover all the exercises because there were some distractions and I had some problems with the Wi Fi and with my laptop as well. So that is something that I have to work on as well. It's not a problem with me being there on time or preparing, it's just that my laptop is giving me a lot of trouble despite me trying to restart it, deleting as many folders as possible which I don't need to free up space, that sort of thing, it still just sometimes decides to crash. The students I have are all very, very respectful and they all understand that I am a student teacher. They all know that I am still new to this. I am still learning, as are they after all. And in terms of behavior, I haven't really had anything to complain about. So I am very grateful to them for understanding my situation. And they do treat their other teachers with the same amount of respect as well. I hope they continue doing so in the next couple of weeks. I mean, I have a lot to cover with them, so there's a lot for me to keep them occupied with. One of the biggest issues was me having to pack everything up and get to the next class on time. In fact, I lost a couple of minutes there because the classes were rather far away from each other. And I had a short talk with one of the assistant heads as well, which also caused me to lose more time. But when I did get to class, I luckily found my students already settled down, and they were also willing to help me set the class up. They switched on the lights, rubbed off the board, and helped me connect the HDMI to my laptop in order for me to reduce the amount of time wasted. And I even managed to cover some grammar with them. We did some simple and continuous tenses using will and going to further understand the future as well. And I also had enough time to do some reading with them where they had to match headings with the appropriate paragraphs. And I learned from my mistake, according to my examiner in the last lesson, where I told them to read the paragraphs out loud. In this lesson, I made sure that they read the paragraphs individually and then decided to ask as many of the students as possible to give me the answers in order to get everybody to participate because that is also very, very important. And it's been pointed out to me that that is what I should do. So that is, in fact, precisely what I did. The students even applauded me towards the end of the lesson when I asked them about what I could do better, whether there's anything for me to improve upon. They didn't really have any advice for me. They were very happy to have me as a teacher for the whole week, which is always so heartwarming, so wholesome to see. But then again, I know that I am not perfect and that there is a lot for me to change to make the lessons even better. I need to be a bit less lenient with the students because otherwise they wouldn't take me seriously by the time my 5 weeks are up, and I want there to be discipline in my class. But I don't want there to be an intimidating atmosphere, as I've mentioned multiple times. I want there to be a natural, authentic environment for language learning. And I've also been able to follow the lesson plans much more accurately these past few lessons. And I am honestly falling behind anyway, but I would much rather complete less exercises and make sure that the students are understanding perfectly than rush through everything and not know whether the students are learning what they have to or not. So I think the students have a good impression of me. I mean, some highlights from the first week were when a student tried to kill a fly with a prime plastic water bottle. That was pretty entertaining, although I did shut it down straight away because it was causing a distraction. Then I had multiple students falling off their chairs, which was also pretty entertaining, but I had to make sure that no one was hurt. There was an instance when one student threw a mini dictionary towards the head of another student, which was also rather entertaining, but I maintained a professional attitude and made sure that the student was fine and disciplined the kid who threw the dictionary. I had to tell him that he would be sent to the headmaster's office if the behavior didn't change. And the LSC or LSA didn't show up during that day, so it was more difficult to maintain a certain balance. But the other students know that it's a struggle to keep the student in line, and they help give me ideas with regard to how I should get him to behave as well, which I am quite grateful for. I don't think there were any other highlights apart from that. I mean, I did speak with some of my grade 9 students about buying the moon, since we did cover the topic of money matters. That was also rather entertaining. And I went along with it because it was a creative idea, and that is what I am trying to achieve with my language lessons. I feel as though without creativity, students really can't learn a language. They have to think outside the box as much as possible and make sure that their minds are water rather than concrete. They have to work with any idea that's thrown at them. And in this day and age, creativity is dying out, unfortunately. There isn't much of it left. And I want to inspire the kids as much as possible in this regard. And I try to encourage reading. I try to make poetry interesting as well. Um, I give them exercises to help them understand that the rhythm in poetry can be fast or slow. I even plan on playing the Phineas and Ferb song, which has to do with not having any rhythm, but there is rhythm. Even perhaps I'll be able to point out the irony in that, so that's another good literary device to teach them. I will be doing all of that next week, however. Um, I have been speaking a lot with my mentor with regard to what I should improve, and I think overall my first week, even though I was given an unsatisfactory, I am grateful for how much I learned from my first week, and I hope that I don't lose my charm with the student, my pleasant attitude, and I've been told that my voice is also quite soothing. Let me know whether you agree or not in the comment section. So I hope I don't lose that um, over the next few weeks. I hope that my soul doesn't completely give up on me and that I become a shell of myself and that I hope that I don't lose all the motivation I have. I mean, weekends are a great way to recover. I look forward to them, and the next week we also have a public holiday on Wednesday, which I look forward to because there's so much more planning I need to do. But that is all I had to say about day 5 of my teaching practice. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Take a look at the rest of the videos because why not? They're absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next one, hopefully very soon. Bye, guys.